It's very crucial. Playing and music making. Then I think it gives you another security, but because you believe I have done it by myself, it worked. So I can say to the others, if you're not sure, then, and the musicians smell the fear and the
Really?
not confidence. They immediately smell it from how you walk on the podium. They know that, I'm confident or confident today. They know it's a magical thing. So nice meeting you.
It's lovely to meet you here on Zoom. It's do I say your name, Dimitris?
Yes, everyone asks me about this. It's complicated in Greek because, in Greek we have, like in German, nominative, accusative, dative, and the name changes. So don't bother. Dimitris is
But
okay.
explain, but please explain. How do you pronounce your word, your name?
My name is Dimitris, of course. But
Yeah.
when you talk to me, you call me Dimitri without S. When you talk about me with someone, then you have the S.
Oh, I see. Okay. Now I will do it the correct way. Dimitri.
Yeah, thank you. It was very good, very good, very good. Thank you.
But it's wonderful. Where are you based at the moment?
I lived the last 5 years in Oslo, in Norway.
Okay. Oh, what a change of climate from Thessalonica to Norway.
It's fine because, to be honest, I'm not so fan of sun and heat. So I think it was.
I see.
But I lived in many different places. I moved to Belgium, then I moved to London. Now I'm in Norway, so I'm used to climate changes.
Oh, okay. Well, it's then wonderful that you're there and that you can enjoy, because I also think it's just when you're doing what you love, then sort of all these other things, there are many other things to compensate for just one thing, and that's the weather.
Absolutely. I don't know, especially as a person, I don't bother. It never disturbed me. It was not, I adapt, I'm chameleon. So never was a problem for me.
Oh, that's wonderful. But now let's talk about your wonderful career. You're a young conductor. You're also a clarinettist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, how did you start in music?
I started music very young in Greece. It was, my parents decided for me that I was 5. I was 5.5, I think, when they started, let's introduce him music. So without, having in mind something professional, because no one in my family is musician, actually. I'm the only one. So my mom was very keen to try with me. And then I started very young. I think I liked it. That's why I continued. It was not pushed from them, even if I had quite structural and strict parents, so I needed to practice and really be focused. But I liked it. It was not torture for me.
And then what was the instrument?
I started with a recorder as a children start. And then after a few years, I moved on to clarinet. And parallel with that, because I was very grateful to be in a very good music school, academy. So I had very good teachers and international teachers. So I had played also the piano from really young age. And then all my theoretical background, it was quite serious from the beginning.
But can I just ask, what specifically about the clarinet? Was it just because you moved from the recorder to another instrument?
I think it was not that deliberate choice. It's just that my teacher in the recorder, he was clarinettist. And
I see. Okay. So
it was kind of natural. Let's try with us. And then I said, okay. And it came naturally without big effort.
And you played the piano as well. So was that also something that came from you, that you wanted to do that?
I think that was mostly obligatory, because in Greece, in music school, I had a lot of Russian professors that in Soviet Union, whatever instrument you played, you must play the piano. So it was kind of, and I have to say that it helped me being a conductor. So I get this, this level of piano playing from young age. and I didn't have to struggle later so much because I just played it. It was not professionally as a piano player, but I played well the piano. So because it was obligatory. And then luckily I continue in high school in Greece to a special music high school. That was really fortunate for me for the 6 years of high school. And it was fantastic experience being in an environment, not just with children at school, but with children who everybody played music.
Yeah.
Parallel with the school. And we had
they all had the same outlook. They all had the same.
Absolutely. Not, of course, everybody became musician afterwards. I have many friends that became doctors, engineers. But this reference of music and music playing, and all of us, we were together in an orchestra, in a choir, and we spoke the same language in a way. It was really important for me growing up and gave me a different confidence as a person. I could speak with people around me, they could understand me. And then after that, but I have to be quite honest, and it's quite cliche thing, many they say, but for me it was like this. It's like I decided for conducting, even though I was clarinettist and I was doing quite okay. I wanted to become conductor. And since I remember I was 10, I have planned this, and I said, to my parents, this I want to do. I want to play piano. I want to do my clarinet at high level. I want to do my theory in really high level and get my diplomas, etc. So to be capable later on to continue this path. Of course, it didn't take me serious, but it was serious inside to my head, actually.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm looking back. I think I was quite serious teenager, which is I didn't expect. So yeah, and then I studied clarinet in Thessaloniki, in a university, and I had wonderful professors. And my last professor, she's still a very good friend of mine. He's great clarinetist, great clarinetist, and he lived parallel in Belgium and in Greece. So he introduced me to my conducting professor in Belgium, and then afterwards, that's why I moved to Belgium, which I'm really happy, because the teacher in Antwerp in Belgium, my professor, is extraordinary. Really? So his name is Ivo Venkov, a Bulgarian teacher, fantastic. And then after that, developed also in Belgium, studied clarinet, a lot of things, and then I moved to London to study clarinet and to do this fantastic course at the Guildhall School with collaboration with London Symphony Orchestra. So I had the chance to play with them for 2 years.
Wow!
Collaborate with them.
So you do this all parallel? You do the clarinet playing and the conducting at the same time?
I did, I have to say, because the most now the last years goes to conducting and try to develop the career, the less time to have for anything else in life.
Yeah.
So I still play when I can, I have the chances, but of course you need to spend time for playing. You need to practice in everyday basis, and I don't have that so much privilege anymore. But I try to play because I think it's extremely important. And many times when I feel I have some crisis in conducting, I think I found my references, my inspiration playing, going back to it. And yeah, because I think in me, I don't know, many colleagues, they can think differently, but for me, since the beginning, since I was playing in the orchestra, and especially high level with London Symphony Orchestra, the Guildhall, and seeing huge conductors like Rattle, Gergiev, Noceda in front of me, and you understand, like, if you cannot produce music yourself, how you can convince others afterwards as a conductor? That was always my dilemma, and I wanted always to achieve as high possible personal music making. So afterwards I can be convincing to even better musicians to me in the orchestra. So, and I think that's very important for conductors from my perspective.
Yeah, so you feel you have to know what it's like to sit on the other side.
Absolutely. Once I remember when I was younger, when I did a competition in Greece, it was a very, very old Greek conductor. He was assistant of Karajan before, but Austrian Greek conductor. He died recently, actually, from Altausse. He was born there in...
really?
Yeah, he was born there, Tripolidis. And then when I was doing the competition, he came back to me and he told me, "You are an orchestra musician." I said, "Okay, yes," because you already know what not to do with the musicians. And I was very young and I didn't take him serious. But afterwards, I started to realize, when you sit there and someone tortures you, perhaps you won't torture someone when receiving the pot. Perhaps doesn't happen always, but at least you will think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I spoke to a conductor previously, also William Walker, and he said also something interesting, that you have to understand the instruments, that you have to understand also that these people that play the instruments, they are the masters of their instrument. They know their instrument. So you have to also take that in consideration.
Yeah, William, we know each other. He's a great guy.
You do?
Oh,
Oh, okay.
So I completely agree. You cannot, as a conductor, you need to realize, and you get to realize, that you cannot win every battle. Sometimes, mostly in a way, you need to deliver your ideas, but you need to compromise. And this comes from this, that when especially you work with professional high-level orchestras, of course they know better than you. And especially in my age, that's, you need to face it and from the beginning, and to live with it and to try to do your best. But in that aspect of understanding, of course, I'm a musician who plays clarinet, so I understand, let's say, wind instruments a little bit better than a string player, perhaps.
Yeah.
But it was fantastic because when a few years ago I started working, creating my orchestra in Belgium, which started as a group from friends from university, and then we played all together, and there were a group of people that I was comfortable with, and then started doing a bit more serious and professional. I had the chance as a wind player to have strings around me, and then to ask them things. So I had the chance to learn from them. And many times I say to them, if I say something stupid, please, you need to tell me back. It doesn't work. But always I wanted to experiment with the technique, the bow, the sound. Can we do this? Can we do that? And they were really open always to tell me, this cannot work. Oh, this perhaps yes. So from practicing, I learned quite a lot of things for string players because I had this chance. It was incredible without almost doing nothing.
And it was a informal atmosphere because it was friends of yours, so they could easily say to you. But I can imagine when you're in an orchestra, orchestra member would not normally have the courage to say if there's something.
Mostly the problem it is that the conductor has much more courage than the players has, and usually, because you need to ask, because many times, as I said, they know better than you. I cannot go as a clarinet player, 22 years old conductor in Vienna Philharmonic and start teaching them how to play the violin. This is completely foolish, but it happens sometimes, and this is very dangerous. But I know that young people, as I am also, and I was before, you are passionate, you want to do something, to see, to experiment. And usually conductors don't have this chance to experiment in this, what I had, this friendly level, so you can go both ways and try to do the best for the music, And if you are thrown directly after big competition to a career in a big orchestra and you want to experiment through big orchestras, this can be really hard way.
I can imagine. And I also think about this a lot, that you have to, of course, know the music, the instruments and everything, but you also have to have this ability for leadership, and you have to have some sort of the psychological aspect also about leadership.
Perhaps I should correct you here. I think that's the main part.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because whatever you have in your mind, whatever you are as a musician, if you don't know how to deliver it and to be convincing and to ask from the people to do what you want, not what the nature wants. So many times they need to go against their nature, and when you are 60 years old playing in the orchestra, this is quite hard. Then comes the psychological parameter, which if you have it, you can much easier convince, or you can lose completely the game. So I would really believe that this, as you said before, the psychology and how, it's crucial. It's extremely important. And unfortunately, I don't know if I will reconsider later. I think, or you have it or you don't have it.
Okay.
I mean, in a way, in life, when you go out with friends and you have a company, or if you go in a restaurant, you see a friend table seat 10 people, you see someone who is extrovert and is the heart of the table. And you see people who are a little bit more quiet. This is very difficult to reverse in life suddenly, and unfortunately, conductor needs to be the loud person.
Okay.
Is the person who will be the sender, who will take, and also will take the responsibility, because in the end, you have the responsibility. So
yeah, and for a young conductor, it must be quite daunting when you get to conduct an orchestra that's a big, well-established orchestra. How did you find that to approach that?
Terrifying.
Really?
And who says the opposite? I don't think they are lying. It's terrifying because at that moment, and I don't know if it's other businesses as well. Of course, you are an artist as well, and you know it. But we artists, constantly, every day, every moment, we are questioned if we are good enough, if we know enough, if we are able enough, capable enough. So going in front of the orchestra, from your preparation that you're going to be judged. The people there are going to see what you can do, if you can do, and throw you out immediately from their minds, include you, try to understand you. So all these things you need to consider before. Of course, the preparation is crucial. Principle, a conductor should know more about the piece than the musicians, in principle. But it's not that easy. It doesn't happen, especially in young age. If you are Clarinettist, perhaps, but not in our age. And I think this everyone needs to understand and to go with it. On the other part, what I said in the beginning, me as Dimitris, playing clarinet, playing chamber music, and in groups, and being used to address these musical ideas to my colleagues, playing with the cello, playing with piano, I think it gives you another confidence when you're conducting to say something to your colleagues around you. If you don't have this experience, I find it really difficult. And seeing many kind of, when we go to master classes and we have friends conducting and discuss about it, people who don't have this playing perhaps through, and someone can say, okay, you are an orchestral musician, but Bernstein wasn't. Yeah, but he was a piano player, fantastic one, and I'm sure he played a lot of the piano and chamber music and other things. So it's very crucial, playing and music making. Then I think it gives you another security, but because you believe I have done it by myself, it worked. Yeah. So I can say to the others. But if you're not sure, then, and the musicians smell the fear and they are not confidence. They immediately smell it from how you walk on the podium. They know that, I'm confident or confident. They know it's a magical thing, somehow. And I think the psychology here, what you say, is the psychology of a pack, a wolf pack, Perhaps musicians inside the orchestra, in every orchestra, they hate each other. But when it comes to them as a group against someone outside, this group works like we protect ourselves, and this human instincts, but it's very important. These instincts comes out, and you have this, the wolf pack, which is fascinating.
It's amazing that you compare it like that, because I can imagine, because they are all professional and they are all, in their part and playing their part and also in competition with each other. It must be, on that level of musicianship.
Absolutely. And of course, we need to realize that they're human beings as well as all we are. And then they have their worries, they have their bad days, they have the stress, they have many things in their lives. And sometimes things can go against their will. So you need to be also tolerant and to have this in your mind, because I know, for example, I remember when we were in Guildhall in LSO and we started knowing some musicians and we were together doing some things. I remember very clear that came one person, one lady that she was previously violinist, and then she made a new PhD in music psychology against stress. And she was, of course, making a lecture on how you can minimize your stress. For example, go for a walk a day, eat bananas, eat chocolate, help to sleep. And I remember this was my first week in Giro, and member of the first violin from LSO that he retired now, he was in the end of his career, said, "I'm really sorry, but I have to throw my frustration here. Okay, tours, walk, bananas or not. I'm 65. The program today has Stravinsky, La Sacre to print out, Bartok Concerto for Orchestra, Stravinsky Symphony in C. And we have 3 hours rehearsal and in the evening concert. And I haven't played the Symphony in C almost for 10 years. How should I cope with this stress? The banana will help? I don't think so. I just know I need to go and deliver, and I'm 65 and my nerves are not the same as they were in 30, and my technique.
Yeah.
So then you start to realize that it's a really hard life. And orchestra musicians really have many times hard life. As a conductor, minimize the torture.
Yeah, but it's great that you talk about this, because as the public, we don't always realize it. I always have this, you have this idea, you go to the concert hall, you see this orchestra and they all look so calm and, they play so perfectly. And it's almost as if you think it comes naturally. You don't realize all the hours and hours of dedication and practice and to get this piece. And if you say now that there's this underlying stress sometimes, because you have to be your best in that situation.
Always, especially the better orchestra you are in, the better you must deliver every single second. You don't have possibility for an error in a really high level orchestra. And this, it's humanly, of course, makes you stress.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And as the conductor is stressed, I think the musicians are even more, and I know it because I had it by myself,
Yeah. And I suspect if the conductor has not a good day and is not in a very good mood, it affects the orchestra then.
Of course. But this is mutual.
Yeah.
All the things, if also the concertmaster is not in a good day, you get the vibe, or the first stand that they're closing, they're sitting so close to you. You get the vibe if someone is not in the day, or you get, if you are, as I said, if you are a sensitive person, who you should be, you sense immediately or bug someone, you need to have your antennas open, and then you need to know how to compromise that today, okay, I won't go more with this person who is back there and not in their best day, because you will have a crash. It's human.
Well, this makes then very much sense that you say that it's great to have this experience of playing with friends and being, having maybe a smaller orchestra and just having that comfortable interaction. So would you say this would be something that you would recommend for anybody who wants to become a conductor or who's in the process of becoming a conductor, that you have to have also that aspect and not just the master classes?
I think it's obligation. If you really want to achieve something for yourself as well, and to be really secure, and because to move the hands, everyone can move their hands in a way, but to make sure that your personality and your knowledge and this security is deep in you, it says something inside to you, of course it's obligatory. And then, but I understand, I see many people around me in this conductor world, that's the mostly biggest goal is that, okay, we win a big competition, and the next day we conduct Berlin Philharmonic. And they don't understand, most of them, I don't know, or they don't want to understand that this cannot be achieved as a serious process. You need to start from somewhere, and the way of conducting lower level things, accept to do it, build inside there, build also, it's important also the way you go and you say good morning, how you ask the rehearsal, please today this in a way doesn't come natural from your birth. You need to rehearse it, you need to see, and that's the only way. You cannot expect that you go to Berlin Philharmonic or Vienna Philharmonic and then you will learn the good morning there.
Yeah.
You will just drive people crazy because, as I said, they have their lives, they're really stressful, and especially, I can say, Vienna. Staatsoper Vienna, they play double services, they play like crazy so much, so they have so much in their hands. So I think it's dangerous or difficult, and for yourself and your own mental health, that you start from lower level, that you, as a bunch of friends, create groups by yourself, be active to invite people to play, and always comes to nowadays more and more the subject of money, but how I would pay this money. I remember my lovely professor in clarinet, he said to me when I moved to Belgium, Dimitri, if you came to Belgium believing that you make career money, go back. You came here to go abroad to study because you cannot do without it. Of course, the way is hard. No one said this easy.
Yeah.
But you need to try the hard way. You need to educate yourself. You need to always learn more and more. Never is enough. For me, my biggest fear that makes me not sleep, if someone asks me tomorrow something about music and I cannot reply. That's one of my biggest fears.
Really?
Yes. Because one of my students or someone in the rehearsal, if someone question, but this is what's gonna happen. You cannot know everything, but you need to have the will to learn. Not, it's never, especially as a conductor, is never enough. It's never enough. 3 lives still wouldn't be enough.
Really?
Yeah.
So, and it's this thing that you talk about the money now, but it's quite many years that you have to study and that you have to sort of make a name for yourself. And is it easy for a young conductor nowadays is it easier, or do you think it's more difficult nowadays to get there and get your name established in the industry?
I think it was always difficult.
Okay.
Always was difficult. But then you need to consider the difficulties of the society in the moment you live. Mozart had other difficulties when they lived 300 years ago, and we have different kinds of difficulties. It's easy? Not. It's gonna be? Not. Are you expecting to be easy? Wrong. I mean, and that's, in a way, I found out that when partially we study, the studies are quite idealized. You should practice, you should go, you should do the best, and almost no one tells you how is the real world outside there. And then you face it, and then of course many musicians have great problems dealing with that. You will make a lot of money. No, perhaps very few people in this industry can make easily or can have some money because they have achieved something very high, but there are very few. And if you cannot live with that, I'm really sorry, it's very difficult. It's like you want to be surgeon and you have blood phobia.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If you can manage it, I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you as a musician are afraid to be poor or you don't want to accept it, then perhaps you have chosen something wrong. It's just everyday struggle. But it's, on the other hand, it's not black. It's a fascinating way that we artists, we have so, this life is not stable. This life changes. This life which always have new possibilities. You can go to new places. And that's what is easier today. Travel. It was not 50 years ago, So
Yeah.
you have the possibilities to travel easier and to have reach for many things. This is very positive, yes. But if you're not have it in your mind that you will struggle, and you must have, because without it, you won't achieve anything. In a way, the cliche also, we artists, we need a little bit to have some struggle to produce something.
Yeah.
And I think it's included, it's a part of the game.
Well, I think this whole path that you go on is also that the learning, it's also where you get your sort of what's the word, where you get this satisfaction from that. Some people have to have the satisfaction of earning the money, and I'm not saying that you don't need that satisfaction also, but I think because you are talking the whole time about the challenges and the learning and the constant learning, and that is also a way of fulfillment, that you that you can get that fulfillment.
Absolutely. It's already been said from the very famous Greek poet Kavafis in his famous poem Ithaca about Odyssey when he needs 10 years to find his way back home. And he says, Kavafis, that is not the destination, it's the trip.
Yeah.
This is what gives you everything in life. The destination is the destination. You arrive safe, but the trip is what it gives you the joy, the struggles, and forms you as a human being. So, of course, it needs to be like that. It cannot be differently. It cannot be differently.
Yeah.
But it's not always easy to accept it.
But I was also talking to William about the fact that the education, and you were saying that you were in a school also, so that this was more of a music school, but that this was, and what I find interesting is that you were saying not everybody became musicians, and some became doctors and lawyers and so on. Do you think there is enough done for children in the school system where they get exposure to music or to some form of art? Because we also are talking now about this, the fact that you have this long path that you go on, that not everybody realizes this, not everybody realizes what goes into becoming an orchestra conductor or an orchestra musician, and that musicians should maybe also consider taking time to really focus on the education of children, not to become musicians, but to have the exposure to music so that they become the next audiences.
Absolutely. I think the start and the end of everything is the education system. Always, as I said, if we see it historically, and sometimes it's a little bit nowadays, we don't want to face these things. Classical music. Now we speak about classical music, not music in general. Classical music, it was always a benefit. It was always a privilege of people who had money. The normal people, also, you see, in Austria, in 200-300 years ago, not everyone could go to the opera.
Yeah.
So it was a privilege from rich people. And it was commissioned from the kings, from the Kaiser, from different, music to the big composers. Nowadays, you have a much more open society and not these huge differences, which is fantastic. But today, it's even bigger responsibility, the education, because today, the offer is unlimited.
Yeah.
You have everything in front of you. And then it's, in the end, what someone will choose, what they will take their attention, So there comes the education, and it's a circle. To have nice children generation educated, you need to have educated teacher from before.
Yeah.
And it's very crucial, as you say, why young audiences don't go to classical music, because they lack the education. And when I saw this kind of music school that I was, as I said, everyone's playing an instrument, we did all the music plus the school. Yes, I believe all these people there, they could appreciate music.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely crucial. Is enough in our society? No. And this is a political problem. When whatever problem every country or a society has, the first thing that is about to be cut off or affected is a culture, which should be the last. And this, of course, is a cliche from our society, but it's a choice. And I think it's not it's everyone's choice to change or do like this, because I'm also an educator and I have students and I love teaching as well. And I find it fantastic that when you teach, you learn things about yourself as well. So it's a give and take.
Yeah.
So very important what you put in the small children's brain, and you give them their whole, inspiration for life. Yes, and I don't like as a person the easy solutions and the easy going. I'm not a person who gives a lot of bravos and like this, and sometimes it can be hard for young people, but they should also realize that the society, what you said, is hard. Young musicians, they need to understand that what it takes, because it's like sport. Music is like athletes, so you need to dedicate your life to it. And the other thing, not of course everybody needs to be a musician coming out of school, but I believe also, and this was what my mom always saying, and in this aspect she was very wise, that whatever you do, you must do it well until the level you are doing it, but you must do it well. Why you should compromise in the quality? And this is what I always say to my students and to people who are doing music. So I support this kind of logic. Like, you need to be well education. Of course, everyone needs to have access to it, and I hope our societies, they can make it easier to get access to music and to culture, and you need to really support it. But it's of course a whole huge discussion about how and what.
But it's so interesting. I spoke to a Greek musician who revived the lyra, the ancient instrument, and they actually went. I mean, they've researched the whole history of the lyra, and they said that in ancient Greek, if you didn't play the lyra, you were seen as uneducated. So children used to go to school. Well, education, playing the lyra was part of the education. And so it's not as if it wasn't like that before, it's society that changed.
Yes and no. It's a very good question, difficult answer. But I think what is the problem is that with the evolution of, the people have developed, the arrogance has developed. And I mean, if you see what you say, it is so interesting for me, because I had it in my mind rolling the last days by somehow this. I mean, if you go and see what Aristotle, Platon, they said about education. And as you say, in Greece it was obligatory philosophy, mathematics, music, and sport. If you didn't have this combination, it was not considered as good education. So the answer is given there. But nowadays, that the answer was given 3,000 years ago, and we still, all the scientists go back as a reference to read Aristotle, to read Platon, to read all this, Socrates. No, we believe we have better way. Because just we have developed. I don't know what we have developed. I'm really sorry. Yeah. But in this, I'm not so positive. Because I really believe we don't learn easily. We want to always, personal things go first, and you don't learn. But it's there. Yeah, it is there, and no one wants to face it. Music was a crucial point of the children education in ancient Greece and in Rome and in the ancient times. It was.
Yeah. And I so have the wish that this can be, that at some point the school system can be like that, where music and art, all forms of art are in the curriculum on the same level as maths and sciences and languages. So that children have the possibility to experience all these disciplines. And like you say, sport as well. But sport is in schools already a big priority.
Yes, absolutely. Because in a way, the human, I think, nature and society is built of contradictions. We have a huge contradiction, especially to nowadays, is that equality. Everyone must be equal. This came all these movements of different peoples the last years, how everybody needs to have the same possibilities, and the society itself is built, and we as a people with two gears society. because of course culture won't prioritize, because it's not the things that they will give you the most productive life or money easy afterwards. Is what maths they will give you, what language they will give you. So of course this they won't make you a modern model of perfection and success in the world we live. And then okay, we push them out because you don't succeed with them easily to have this glamorous flashy life. Isn't that discrimination?
Yeah.
Not to a person, but it's a category, is to a philosophy. And we keep doing that like nothing happens, and everyone accepts that. This I find an easy contradiction in the society. From once we need to support the differences and what people who struggle, who are different, the difficult, and then you have, let's say, a special needs profession, and you push them completely out.
Mhm.
So this is quite sad.
Yeah, no, that's true. But now, Dimitri, what are your wishes for the future?
One, I always say, and I repeat to everybody, my wishes for the future is, first of all, health,
Yeah.
which is quite important and we forget it. And the wish that I would really like to see come true, but it's very difficult, people to be a bit more thoughtful and remember things that have happened or how it's coming. I think those are really important for me in this age. Perhaps in some years I will completely change
No.
my goals. I don't know.
And in your career, what do you hope to do next?
I wish I knew.
Oh, okay.
I think the most important for me is continue fighting,
Mm.
continue trying, and try, because for me as a person, I have the need to do music. I could do other professions as well. I many times thought about it, but I have the need to do that. It gives me energy, gives to me meaning, it gives to me power. So in a way, you cannot escape it. It's a kind of, you know it with yourself, I'm sure. You cannot escape
Yeah.
it. You go, you wake up, you sleep, and you think about it. It's all
Yeah.
your life. Yeah, so I think I should keep fighting and going, and let's
Mm.
see what the future will bring.
Amazing. Yeah. But that's true. If it's calling you like that, that's what you should do.
Yeah, but of course this doesn't guarantee me anything. But I don't in a way decide in my life long time. I don't want any guarantees on any kind of
Yeah.
stability. It annoys me. It
Mm.
bothers. So I think it's my choice.
Yeah. Now, Dimitri, just one last question. I ask musicians, what do you do after a concert? Do you drink wine or beer, or do you go out for a meal, or do you just go home?
No, I think it varies.
Mm.
First of all, depends the concert,
Yeah.
and depends the stress of the level of the concert, how it was. It depends the success of it. If you have a lot of endorphins or less endorphins.
Yeah.
I am a really, really, really interesting person in food because I cook myself.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought I could do it also professionally, but so always after the concert, I crave a good meal.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yes.
Mm.
So that's important. And of course, with alcohol combined is a good combination. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a specific type of food that you like?
Not really a specific food. For example, what my girlfriend said, if you ask her, she will, if you ask her what is my favorite food, she will reply to you schnitzel mit Kartoffelsalat.
Really?
but,
Okay, so we can have a good meal together because I love that too.
I backhand. I love Vietnamese food anyway. I was very fortunate when I was living in Belgium to share a house to a lovely person, a fantastic musician. That she was Viennese, living in Belgium,
Oh, I
viola
see.
player, very big viola player. So I was renting a room in her apartment. So she taught me all the Viennese school of food.
Wonderful.
Yeah, but I
Mm.
mostly I like very much Asian food. I mean
Oh, I
Japanese
see.
food. Korean
okay.
Thai food, and I cook myself. But
Mm.
anyway, for me, food is not like I go to eat. Is as a music, it's more,
Oh,
scientific.
okay.
Trying things, and I want to see
Mm.
how people deal with it. It's an art form. That's what I'm interested
Yeah. But it is an art form. I think we
in.
misjudge it, but it's definitely, yeah.
To have
Mm.
the biggest art form because anyway we cannot live without it.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. But Dimitri, it was wonderful talking to you. And well, you have to let me know when you're in Vienna again. Then maybe we can grab a coffee.
Absolutely, with great. And if you are in Norway, of course,
Yes. Thank
with,
you so much.
with pleasure.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Thank you, you too.
Bye.
Bye.